In collaboration with Black Women Connect Vancouver, Chop It Up is a community-based cooking class hosted by Asha Wielden, founder of Kula Foods, and Chris Borland, founder of Elbow Patties. Chop It Up features guests and friends from the community all coming together through the common love for food and culture.
Hi, Asha.
Hey, Chris. How's it going?
Good. Episode 2.
Episode 2, Chop It Up. We're back.
Consistent.
We're back.
We are.
What are we doing here?
What are we doing here?
What are we doing here?
We're recording a podcast.
What is the podcast?
What is our podcast? Well, our podcast is Chop It Up, where we're going to bring all our chef friends and food enthusiasts onto the yellow couch over here.
Yes.
And chop it up with us. We'll be talking about, their lives, their food journeys. We might get a little bit personal. We'll laugh, we'll cry, we'll do all the things.
Okay. On the big, yellow, comfy couch. So welcome back. I'm pretty excited about this, where we have so much to cover.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot of guests that I cannot wait to sit with and just kind of get their perspective and experience their food at some point. What are some of your intentions in this journey that we're about to embark on?
Oh, I guess I would say for me, just really having the listeners and myself understand Elbow as the brand, Chop It Up as the brand, you and I as people, really dig deep, have fun. And just because they see only a piece of us in our everyday lives on our Instagram, on our Chop It Up classes. Yeah. But I think with this with this podcast, we will really be able to, I guess, relax a bit more because we don't have the stress of cooking for 25 people. Yeah. Neither does our guests, and we can just sit, chill, have a drink, and chop it up.
Exactly. Get right to the food story and what we've been up to. Speaking of, what have you been up to?
What have I been? I still think I have vacation brain because I was on vacation for quite a bit. I'm a jet setter now,
Listen.
I am traveled.
Bi-coastal, tri-coastal.
So I just got back from the UK.
Yeah.
I was up in North London for a couple of weeks. And then, what am I forgetting the most important part? I went to Spain as well.
Right.
Yes.
I was waiting for it.
We stayed in Malaga, the south of Spain, which is like a second home for me at this point. Just gotta learn the language.
Yes.
And then you're never going to see me again.
And here you are.
Well,
So what did you eat in UK and in Spain?
There wasn't a lot of eating. I'm not going to be honest. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. It was a lot of drinking.
Okay. Okay. What was the highlight, the drink that you just needed to go back to?
I had... So when we're just like walking around...
Yeah.
There was... this is in Spain.
Okay.
We were just walking around and there was... by the museum, there's like this random garden terrace. So I was like, okay, let's just go check that out. And there's 2 entrances. So there's one where you like go in and you have to wait for a table, all this stuff. I was like, I'm not waiting in queue for anything. Yeah. And I'll tell you why about the queue story after.
Okay.
So we went upstairs and we just sat at the bar. Again, I need to learn the language because I just was like, menus? He's like, what do you want? I was like, this. And then he brought, I was like, I'll just get a brandy. Not knowing how it works there, he brought us a fortified wine first.
Okay.
So that was like our aperitif, if you will.
Okay. And
some snacks. I was like, okay. So I'm here thinking I'm drinking the brandy. I was like, wow, this is delicious. I'm getting a little tipsy. Then the brandy comes in a gauntlet. Okay. And this much. I was drunk. And I don't talk to strangers, okay?
No.
I'm there becoming best friends. Her name's Victoria. She lives also in Finchley, where we stayed in London.
Oh, Victoria.
Listen, Queen Victoria. No, Victoria was a key because the local beer in Malaga is Victoria beer. So she thinks she's just the star of Malaga at this point. She was just like, everywhere I go, I see my name. I was like, Victoria, relax. But no, Spain was beautiful. Were there options for me to eat vegan? Not as much. Everything was vegetarian. Yeah. So there was just like a lot of cheese, vegetables.
And, I hear you.
But overall, the experience was great. London, I always have a good time in London, and London's food scene is just out of this world. They, the times that we would get home drunk,
Yeah.
I would order. It's the first time I've had I don't even know. It was like it was a Big Mac from McDonald's, but it was plant based. I just don't know what they call it down
Oh,
there.
wow. Okay.
It was.
You experienced that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
From McDonald's.
Yeah, plant based Big Mac.
Look at that.
Very tasty. 10 out of 10.
sounds amazing.
Would highly recommend.
That's amazing. Did you do a double patty or just one?
Honestly, I don't remember.
Okay.
Because again, there was a lot of alcohol inside
Drinking.
of my body.
Yes. Okay.
So-
That sounds like amazing time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you were gone for 10 days.
10 days.
Yeah.
Technically 9. Because
Yeah.
it's a lot of traveling that was taking place. But yeah.
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 Wow.
I know you were gone for a bit too.
Yes.
We both decided to just say, screw you
We
until
said
we're out.
February, Black History Month. We were gone within days of each other.
Don't call us, we'll call you.
That was it. And I think this is the new ritual for me personally. I'm out in February.
Mm-hmm.
It's also my birthday. So
Oh yeah, happy belated.
Thanks. So my friends and I were in Trinidad for 10 days or 8 days, days of traveling. And then we also made a stop in Miami for the night.
You were in Miami for the night?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yes. Living.
So you're a real city girl.
Yeah, Trinidad was amazing. There was definitely a lot of partying.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't partied like that since I was in my 20s. Okay. The carnival was amazing. There's you kind of have a lead up days in. So 12 hours is your typical. And some of the parties begin at 12 a.m. until the next morning.
Not bedtime.
It was amazing. Yeah, major highlights. The food was awesome. Definitely was an eye opener of I would find vegan options at the parties, and there's always food, which is, I think that's what I love the most. No one was drunk because you were eating, you're drinking coconut water, and I kind of figured out my go-to drink, which was rum and coconut water. And I kind of stuck with that.
Rum and coconut water. How's that taste?
Ooh, amazing. Refreshing with ice.
I'm not really a coconut water type of girl, so.
No, it was hydrating. It was just amazing. Gave me life.
Dark rum? Or?
Light rum.
Oh.
White rum.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to try that.
Yeah, we were out there. We
Real coconut
we were
water?
dancing. I like coconut water.
No, like real coconut, though? Or was it canned?
I'm sure it was canned for the amount that they were dishing out.
Okay, so then I can make it here then.
Yes, you can.
I'm going to try it when I get home.
I forgot to bring you rum, but it was amazing. It was so good. Yeah, I haven't danced like that in a long time.
Yeah.
In a long time. That was a great, great trip.
I love it. I need to experience that.
Yeah.
The last time? I think the last time I was dancing with you was, oh God, I think our first year of friendship at Calabash.
No.
Yeah.
That can't be true, really?
Birthday. We
Wow.
haven't gone dancing
And I
since.
keep missing Afro-queer parties, so...
Yeah, because you love travel too much.
I travel. You essentially throw parties when I leave so that I don't get to go.
Sounds like it's your problem.
Anyway, you got to come to Trinidad. February. Unless you're in Spain.
Hey, I told you it's my new home.
Living your life. Yeah.
I need to settle down, though. The streets have seen me too much, so...
Yeah,
I'm
for
gonna take
a
break
bit.
for a
Just
bit.
for a bit. We're going to take a break. We're going to be here. We're going to be here talking and,
Yeah.
behaving. And
We have a podcast
Yeah,
to record.
yeah.
Stay
No.
consistent with.
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, I'm really excited for the podcast. I think we will announce our first guest. Our last episode, we had Natasha on, who is part of our crew, and just kind of formally introduced what this is about. And, the ultimate goal is to get the food story, just really connect through food. But I think go deeper a little bit and just get to know our communities a little more. And through that, you'll get to know a little bit more about us that you will not see on Instagram. So, yeah.
Unless you're in the close friends,
along.
then.
Follow along. What do we have on the table today? We have...
Oh, so it's a collab.
Listen.
Patty.
Announcement. Announcing.
So it's our elbow kula collab patty.
Yes.
Where it's a elbow shell with a kula filling. Asha's beautiful, greatest of all time.
Yes.
Goat curry. So we're definitely blending two cultures into one here, and bring it to the streets.
Making it magical. I definitely had one for breakfast this morning.
Period.
And it was the greatest of all time. Patty.
Hello.
Patties, not one, two. I had two. It was so good.
Well, you yammed down today.
I did. And I have one more left after this. I will definitely be eating more. Yeah, I'm really excited for this collab.
Yeah.
So that's what we're snacking on today. We are at Anco offices. So that's our where we record our podcast and work out of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So can I ask you a few questions?
Sure.
Okay. So we kind of briefly talked on the last episode about the inspiration behind Chop It Up, and I would say you kind of kicked it off because you already had it. You had manifested the idea of being able to, with the events that we run. So for those that haven't really been following along, typically we have events where we invite chefs and foodies in our communities, and they lead us through a cooking experience. And then we get to dine together. So that's been what's been going on. And we are, again, sitting down more to just have those conversations, a longer conversation around the food stories of our guests and also ourselves. So Chris had this down packed already in terms of manifesting the overall idea. And then we connected and just kind of rolled from there to a full idea of what it is today. So I love to know more about your food story, and how food has informed you and how you got into starting Elbow Patties.
Yeah, so my food story starts, I guess, for everyone, fairly young in age. But I would say like my food story as far as the culinary world that I'm in started when I was 16 in high school.
Okay.
And only till recently have I changed the language of my food story being a means of survival. So in high school, you're basically forced at a certain time when you have to start applying for universities and colleges. What it is you want to do? I had no clue what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was in school for fine arts. It's because my school was out of my region, so I had to apply to go to this high school, Cedarbury Collegiate at the time, through their art program. Because I am an artist.
Yes, you are. I didn't even know you went to school for fine arts.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. Now it all makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a French immersion fine arts school.
Yeah.
For those
And French.
Wow.
Well,
I didn't go for French immersion.
Okay.
I can't get past bonjour, okay? And I probably just butchered that. So you will not hear me speaking French aloud.
Bonjour.
Work. Okay. So, out of survival, I went and applied for culinary school.
Okay.
So I applied for Humber and George Brown.
Yeah.
Got accepted to both.
I went to George Brown.
You went to George Brown?
I went to George Brown.
Oh.
How? Okay.
I did not.
You did not. You went to Humber.
I decided to go to
Okay.
Humber and live
Okay.
on residence there.
Wow.
Yeah, the full...
Chris, we could have been
experience.
friends from Toronto. We could have been.
I know, but I didn't want to live at home no more.
Oh, yeah, that too.
I wanted to,
That.
I wanted to feel like I was an adult by living in a
Yeah.
closet
Yeah.
with other
Listen.
people on my floor.
So you get to Humber.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got to Humber, and I really liked it. I really enjoyed the culinary experience. Well, because we're fast tracking, before I got to Humber, I did a co-op
Okay.
through high school, and I worked at a couple of hotels and restaurants in Toronto to really get my feet wet. And that's was like, okay, I can do this. I do enjoy this, and running food-based companies is something that my family does. My uncles, they have restaurants. My uncle has a restaurant in Toronto called No Grill, and my uncle, RIP, in Jamaica, ran food programs down there as well. So, and obviously being Caribbean, food's always a part of our lives. So it just was fitting for me to get into that world and refine it, because I know how to cook, but do I know the techniques? So that was that. Went to Humber. Unfortunately, didn't finish because I fell ill twice throughout my semesters there. So I decided to just kind of drop out and go back into working fashion. And one day sitting with Andrew, I was like, okay, I need to get back into food, but I don't want to do it here because everything here is easy access, be it through my teachers, my parents, or my friends.
Right.
I could get a job anywhere. And it's good to have, like, those privileges.
Yeah,
but I
definitely.
wanted to know that I could get a job solely on my skills, not who I knew. So I was like, I'm going to pack up and go somewhere I don't know anybody. So I came here. And, I had one connection, my aunt, but she's not, like, involved
in all of it.
the culinary world. So I came here, lived in Tawasin for a couple of months, applied to a bunch of jobs. Listen. I'll be nice today.
Well, okay.
So yeah, that's where I lived, on the floor.
Oh.
I felt like Cinderella.
Wow.
It was giving Cinderella.
I mean, look at you now.
Period. So
Recap, went from fashion back to food into what?
Sleeping on the floor. Yeah.
It's good to dream.
Rock bottom, my friend. Rock bottom. I said, because I literally came to Vancouver with one suitcase.
Yeah.
My whole life is in that suitcase and $700. And that went quick. I bought a cell phone.
Oh, wow.
And I had no more money left. I said, well, I guess I'm going to see Tawasin's floor a lot longer than I expected.
A little bit longer.
But again, food being survival.
Right.
I hustled and I had to go get a job. And I worked in Gastown for Sean Heather. He owned 7 restaurants at the time. I worked at his newest one. It was called Everything Cafe in Chinatown. It's closed now, unfortunately. But I was a sandwich artist, if you will.
Still an artist.
Hello.
Still showing up as an artist.
It was not a vegan restaurant.
Okay.
It was a lot of slapping salamis on things, and that was that. I worked there for a bit. I worked my way up to the company and ran... eventually started running Judas Goat, which was a Spanish tapas restaurant.
Yes.
I mentioned that in the last podcast.
Yes.
And just, again, making all the empanadas that they wanted me to. I left there and I started working for another Spanish restaurant called Sardine Can.
Right.
Where I was able to be, I guess, more experimental with my cooking style. And I learned a lot from both places because they're both different styles. Like, the Judas Goat was more like sous vide and small plates and, the little pins at the thing, the bougie fancy stuff. While Sardine was very much family, authentic tapas. And you're sitting there, you come in, we're talking because I'm pouring you your sherry, but I'm also cooking you your food. And that's where I think I really started falling in love with food and seeing where I want to take it for my own journey, which was kind of like seeing how my parents operated their businesses, very face-fronting and being able to get to know the people that I'm feeding and the community that I'm feeding. Which then brings me to Elbow. I did fall under some times where, you have an identity crisis, right? And I think that's where it really... I hit rock bottom again. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
I recently came out around this time because I met my now husband.
Okay.
And when I left Toronto, I left Chris behind. So I wasn't necessarily Chris parents of Ivy Arthur Jamaican. I was just Chris, So I didn't really have that Caribbean identity that I used to have back home, where every day it's rice and peas and this and that. Now it's salmon and white rice.
Yeah.
Because that's all my aunt would cook at the time. So I didn't have that identity again. And again, being from the Caribbean, they are highly homophobic. So coming out and having that realization that, okay, I don't really belong there anymore. I felt like I didn't belong there anymore. I don't really belong over here, be it Vancouver, and in the food scene, I didn't see anyone like me. I never felt like I belonged there either, because you either had to be temperamental or addicted to something. There was never any like in between.
Right.
And I kind of just I shut down, of just being tired of working for other people, draining me and food no longer being fun at this time. So one day I woke up and I was just playing around in the kitchen, and the one thing that kind of brought me joy was making the empanadas at the time. But I said to myself, I was like, okay, empanadas, it's someone's culture, but it's not mine.
Yeah.
So let me do some more research, because I never made a patty before. I said, I didn't know where to start. So I just started from ground up, did some research, and I was playing around in the kitchen, and I made some patties for my husband. And he's like, these are great. So I brought them around to friends. They loved it.
Wow.
Industry people loved it. And it kind of just started to grow from there. And you were one of my first major contacts. And then you kind of pushed me to get into production kitchens, because I was definitely cooking outside my home. Don't tell me.
Well, that's how it starts. I mean, where do you start? That's what
exactly.
That's what an artist does, right?
And
it's amazing.
Yeah, I say now that I've changed the language as far as food survival. It's because I don't feel like I'm doing it just to survive anymore. I'm doing it for the love of it again. So beautiful. That's the food story. That's kind of where we are now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I just learned so much right now about you. And, I remember one of the introductions to Commercial Kitchen, and someone thought you're making empanadas.
I get that all now.
Listen, very different.
Yeah.
Very different.
Very different.
Okay.
Yeah. Then it's funny because culturally, everyone has a handheld pie.
Yes.
And it's just funny that they know everyone else's handheld, like empanadas and calzones.
Calzones, sambusa, samosa.
There you go.
Yeah.
But then when you tell them Jamaican pie, they're like, huh?
Like,
like, you mean samosa? No, you mean empanada. Like,
absolutely
no,
not.
I'm telling you,
No.
my culture,
No.
Jamaican patty.
Yeah.
Our staple.
If you've never had a Jamaican patty, you're not living.
You haven't lived.
Right? You're not living. You have not tried. You've not tried.
Especially elbow Jamaican patties.
Listen, the flake, it's all about the flake.
I finally perfected the flake. I'm very happy.
Not everyone gets it. So I knew it. I think coming from Toronto, experiencing your patties was it.
Yeah.
And that was it. That's how we became best friends. On food. It was the patties. And of course, more than that. But yeah, that's really, it's amazing. What a journey.
Yeah. It's been quite a journey.
Wow.
But I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah.
Now that I've, one, found the confidence, two, have a love for food again.
Yes.
And three, again, changing the language of what my food story is and what it was. It's no longer about survival. It's more about just intention and love.
And joy.
And joy, yeah.
Yeah. Bringing joy to folks that may not have experienced patties. Jamaican patties.
And awareness.
And awareness. There's more than that. You get a lot more. But also for those that have experienced it and, want to be close to that, and it reminds them of home. I mean, your patties remind me of home in Toronto. So, yeah, I'm so grateful.
A lot of people ask me why Jamaican patties. It's because, again, going back to survival, Jamaican patties was what got me through school. Yeah. Because in Ontario, in Toronto especially, you get them at everywhere corner, no matter what the rest the place is. Yes, it could be a pizza place. You're getting Jamaican patties. It's a gas station. You're getting Jamaican patties. Convenience store.
You're getting it. You know which train station to
Coffee
stop
shop.
at.
You're getting Jamaican patties.
Everywhere.
Vancouver needs to hop on to that trend.
Listen,
because I got a lot of no's. They're like, we're a coffee shop. We don't sell those.
You know what, cool. Vancouver? I have a lot to say to you, but get up to it. It's just there's this feeling of resistance.
Yeah.
That I know you've experienced. I am personally experiencing of just like, I don't think the market would like it. Like coffee shops, why don't you have elbow patties on your menu? It's easy, right? And I think that's where I feel like there's that opportunity of moving the needle a little bit. Folks are just not necessarily fully comfortable of literally just trying something new.
Yeah.
That may just change the shift, and you'll bring in more customers probably, right? And so I struggle with that. I struggle with the unwillingness of trying something. But there are some amazing folks that carry your patties. Where can we find it?
The list is long.
Yeah. Name like key Vancouver centric spots.
So there's the canteen on Commercial
Yes.
Drive. There's and this is for like grab and go. Like you can take a frozen bag home. So the canteen. There's Farm Table on Richard Street in
Yes.
Yaletown. Oh my goodness. Oh, Meridian. I believe you can get them online and all 6 of their stores.
Okay. Work.
And as far as like hot and ready, we're at a few breweries actually now. So there's our newest one, House of Funk, in North Van.
All right.
The OGs, Strange Fellows,
Yes.
on Clark Drive. I love them. They've been #1 supporters for the last 6 years. It's insane to think of. And our second newest is oh my goodness, Oak and nope, Steel and Oak.
Steel and Oak. Okay, Steel and Oak. Shout out.
Yeah, shout out Steel and Oak. My old colleague Daniel, who's the manager there,
Yeah.
got us in.
That's amazing.
And I used to do a lot of pop-ups there when I first started. If you go to my Instagram, you'll see me and my
Yeah.
little oven posed up there.
Oh yes. Journeys, right?
Journeys. Yeah, I was thinking that the other day actually.
Wow.
When I was packing up patties to go to Revelstoke,
Yeah.
there was a time where I was just doing like, I got an order of like 80 pounds. Like, oh my god,
my
so
God.
much.
I remember.
And now it's like it's hitting
Boop, boop,
numbers
boop,
I never
boop, boop, boop. Now imagine in a couple
expected,
years.
right? So
Imagine in a couple years, right?
yeah,
It's wild. I just remember even just thinking of how many stores you were in a year ago versus now, right? The
Yeah.
growth is there. So that's super cool.
yeah.
Oh,
Love
I'm
it.
excited. I'm excited for you. Get your patties.
But I have to say though, I push myself because I see how hard you're going. Your launch party was everything, and I was like, all right, Asha, I see I gotta step it up. But I know the story, but obviously they don't. So like, let's get more deeper into Kula.
Cooler, yeah. And wow, okay. I'm just processing everything I just learned about you. We could have been in the same college. And you chose Humber. You went all the way west.
I did. I lived there. It was great.
It is nice. Okay, so for me, it is, I think where I always kind of go back to is just like my childhood, right? I grew up in a town called Isiolo, and it is just 2 hours northeast of Nairobi, right? The city. And so kind of context to where I lived, literally no electricity, no running water in the home. But I just remember just having access to food through community. And I lived with my grandparents. My grandfather and I were pretty close. And yeah, I think the big step for me is, as a child, I really understood the importance of what sharing looks like around food. And so we grew vegetables together. So we had space, like a land that we all shared in our neighborhood. And not to say I'm in anywhere an expert now, because I definitely lost a lot of it. But like understanding the harvest.
Right.
And then when there are celebrations or even just like week to week, there was always food that was coming to our house,
Yeah.
and vice versa. So a very communal experience around that. And I never felt like I was lacking anything, you know, I never felt that. I always felt like, and I was also a kind of a picky eater, as I'm reflecting back, but there was like certain dishes that really stood for me, which is like collard greens, which we call sukuma wiki, with ugali. So it's like a cornmeal that you cook down. Some people call it polenta. I call it ugali. And so those staples I've always like gone back to, but I never really thought deep about it, you know? And so when I moved to Canada, my mom was really always good with keeping that tradition of having our cultural food in our home. So like in our house, you'll have chapati, you know it's a good week when that's on. Injera, with my mom's stew, and of course ugali sukuma wiki, which no one else really liked except for my mother and I. So that was always a go-to for me. So I feel like it's interesting. Every city I've traveled to, I always look for certain ingredients, and it's usually collard greens. And so I lived in Toronto. And, I never really connected the dots I never thought I was a foodie. I just know food was something that it brought me joy, but I never thought deep about it. I went to George Brown. I was pursuing my education around counseling and therapy, and I specifically wanted to work with those that have been incarcerated. And I had a good opportunity to experience a program through, it's called AIDWIC, that was a foundation of Hurricane Carter, in revisiting cases that involved mostly Black men that were potentially wrongfully convicted, who were serving a long life in prison. So I had this idea in my 20s thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to become a counselor and talk to a grown person, a grown human who has lived a life.
Like, let me help you.
Very delusional. But yeah, anyway, so long story short, I actually ended up working, getting into telecommunication, which I did for 15 years. So managing people, managing products. And this is how I ended up in Vancouver on a project.
Okay.
Yeah, so I came to Vancouver. I was like, "What is this? What is this place? What is going on?" There, literally in a January, multiple layers of jackets and liners, and did not need it.
Coming in
hot for winter, and it was quite an interesting discovery. And just as I go to any places, I look for spices, I look for sauces, I look for any ingredient that I'm looking for. And of course, collard greens came up. And in that, I felt lost those first couple of weeks. I was just like, I ended up at Calabash. That was like one of the first spots I went to.
Shout out Calabash.
Shout out Calabash. Shout out to the whole fam there. I'm so grateful for what they've done. And so I was actively looking for that. I was looking for injera. I definitely discovered to go to New West and Burnaby and Commercial Drive, of course. But at the same time, I just didn't, I was looking even more, deeper, like Kenyan experience, which is not really, there's not a lot available even to this point.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I was meeting all these new people. Like everyone was new. Right, which is exciting to me, but at the same time, I'm new to everyone as well. Yeah. So I felt like I had to. So the way I get people into my life is food, and we'd have parties. I'd have different events and have friends over, new friends, and they would try my food. I was also in that process of transitioning my diet into plant-based diet, and I got a chance to kind of play around with what I would traditionally enjoy with my family, but plant-based. The lentils, I didn't really get into meat alternatives and processed food as much, but using, lentils and beans and more vegetables and just seasoning it. Was that. So I think seeing people getting excited about what they were eating, around the flavor and not missing that point, was what kind of kicked me off. And then shout out to my friend Zach, who was like, "Oh, you could do something." So juice truck. So one of our first pop-ups, our first pop-up was a juice truck, and he's the one who kind of pushed me to try it. And farmers markets is where we started, UBC and Vancouver farmers markets, with just our stews. At that point it was the sukuma stew, and eventually pili pili.
I forgot about the sukuma stew.
Remember the sukuma stew?
Oh, God.
Lentils, collard greens. So there's that full circle, is sukuma is always going to be somewhere, and that's how we kind of got started. And I don't really understand. I was never in the food industry, right? Most of my years were spent with tech, in the digital side, and all of a sudden now we're in this world. My first day at a kitchen, a commercial kitchen, I literally stared at the burner for an hour. We were circling this burner, I want to burn this place down today. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But we did it. It was an overnight. I was also a new mom.
Yes.
Right? I had my daughter a year later, started Kula.
Jeez.
And and then Luca was on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No breaks.
Wild times. So yeah, I did a lot of overnights.
Yeah.
Just to ensure that I can manage my time wisely and be around my children. And so it's like, I think just like Hugh, my feeling of moving to Vancouver was kind of it was almost not a clean slate, but an opportunity to explore something different.
Yeah.
You know, because I was quite comfortable in Toronto. I was very comfortable. I had still have my community there, but like fully set. You know, it's not like I never worked. I've always worked. I was moving up the ladder. I was doing really well in my work, you know, and I was very comfortable in earnings.
Yeah.
I had this delusion that it was just going to be continuous, but that's a whole other entrepreneurial journey. Anyway,
hello.
In food. Funny. But yeah, I think it was that opportunity where you can I was able to focus more on my artistry. Yeah. And I never thought I was an artist, but like food has brought that back more, you know, for me. And just like the joy that it brings for someone to experience something they may not have experienced, or that it reminds them of home. So yeah, I think finding Kula was just finding or building a home in a different place. Yeah. And so now we are at a place where I just didn't think we can get this far. I thought it was going to be like a 1-year project. But here we are, where we have partners that are growing, and our team is growing. And now Chop It Up is allowing, I feel like it's really just organically growing into that place of extending our community. And it feels really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I have 2 kids, raising, 2 plant-based diet vegans and it's really exciting as a mom to be able to experiment with what they like to eat, because they're very, children are a little more constructive and very direct in terms of what they like and what they don't like. They don't like anything I cook, but we're working.
They don't like anything you cook?
What do they like? They want... They like chapati, though. They like bread. Yeah.
Children will tell you about
they will
yourself.
tell you. They will humble you every single day. You will come up. I make a whole gourmet dinner or lunch, whatever meal, and it's a shutdown. Like, no, what is this? Just give them what they want. But yeah, it's also incredible because they get to I get to see how I was, because I was also very picky. But at the same time, just a lot more vocal. Right. Yeah. No, that's my story.
Okay.
That's my story. That's where I'm at right now. And we're selling proteins, like meats.
Yeah.
Right? Meats in stores and sauces.
Did you ever see this for yourself? When you had you obviously cool as an idea, and then you had that first step of getting into the commercial kitchen, and then doing like farmers markets.
Yes.
From at farmers markets, where did you see Kula really expanding from
I
there?
had no
Like,
clue.
what was your ideas?
I we're still dabbling in a lot of things. I was like, because I'm driven by the idea of togetherness, like being able to bring people together over the table. So I think catering and events is where we thought we would be forever. We get to do that still, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But I never seen it. Now I'm starting to, the pressure is on, because I am having to think more further, and things are a lot wider than I was.
5 steps ahead.
Yeah, my imposter syndrome ended here. If it was a couple of years ago, I would say this is where it ended. This is how many stores that we want to be in and whatnot. And now we're, in the hundreds. And so it's amazing. I'm very grateful for it. I mean, it's not easy.
No.
There's some days where I just want to walk away and just cook in my kitchen, and call it a day. But it's just, there's a drive and a burning need to go forward.
Yeah.
Because the community has been pushing us. I don't think we could. Someone said to me, "You can't quit today." There's actually no way you could quit. If you quit, it was daunting to hear this, but they were like, if you quit, you're letting us all down.
That's some pressure.
That is a lot. It's a lot of pressure, but I love it. I love that I get to do this. This is my life right now.
Okay, I want to dig a bit deeper in because we both left Toronto
Yeah.
because we felt comfortable. Do you feel like we're getting too comfortable here? Like, where are
mean-
you at now with your life and comfortability in this city that you've now established as home?
I'm not fully comfortable yet,
Okay.
but I think I realize when I get comfortable, I want something. I want something else.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, who knows? Who knows where we're gonna end up? But there's still some work for me to do here.
Yeah.
And there's a lot for me to explore here. But I think coming back from the Trinidad trip has been very eye-opening of like, there's still the world.
Yeah.
There's so many places we could be.
Yeah.
Right? And there are other places that I felt at home. I walked into that airport and let me tell you something. I was home.
Yeah.
I was literally home. I had...
You saw yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw myself. I was around people that I felt like I could see them, they could see me. And yeah, just like even the day-to-day experience. We didn't stay at any resort. We were right in the place and walking the streets.
I need to go.
You need to
I
go.
need to touch roll with you one day.
Yeah.
Go on bad
next
as
year.
we used to.
Absolutely. I was able
I'm
to
down.
just like let my guard down, you
Yeah.
know? And that was a really good feeling. And so I'm not sure where I'll be physically, but Vancouver is feeling like home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Same.
built my community here,
Yeah.
and it's been wonderful.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
say the same.
Yeah.
Have you been here around the same time? I've been here for 13 years this August.
I have been 2015. I don't do math.
Oh, same. That's okay. Sure.
What is that? No, 9 years. I mean, you've been here longer.
Oh, okay.
You've been here a bit longer.
Cute.
Yeah. No. Now I'm starting to think. Like, do you think this is where you'll be in a couple of years?
I fight with that
Yeah.
often.
Okay.
Because if I see myself in a few places, but again, with Vancouver, it was such a struggle just to get the name out there and the education around Caribbean food.
Yeah.
But then again, the education around Caribbean food culture and how that impacts me and my everyday being a homosexual.
Yes.
It's daunting to then go and explore the world again.
Right.
To tell that
Start
story
over
again. And I was like, I could always go back to what makes me comfortable, which is home. But then I have that imposter syndrome where, not to toot my own horn, but I am kind of the best here right now doing it. I'm just going to be another fish in the pond there.
Yeah.
And do I have, again, the strength and the abilities to keep up with the big wigs? Because,
Right.
I mean, even here, I still get compared to like Juicy Patty and all those people, internationals, and they have their factories and they've been around for 80 plus years, right?
Yeah.
I'm only sitting here at my 5-year point. So, I mean, I guess it's a good thing you're comparing me to the big wigs because you see it for the brand. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know where the universe will take me. I've always kind of just traveled off of the beaten trail
Yeah.
of how I run my business and my life. So, yeah, if this is where Elbow is sitting right now in this comfortable state, I could be okay with that. And
Could you?
No, I lied.
That's a lie.
That's a lie. But I say I'd be okay with it if it then stayed consistent enough where I can then do other projects. And, because I want to do other things
Yeah.
outside of food. I
Yeah.
do want to get back into fashion.
Yes.
Not like making garments, but something on that line. And just, again, different types of art. I studied chocolate for a bit, so I want to maybe explore that again.
Yeah.
Just different things.
Would you explore Jamaica again? Or explore Jamaica?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah, I would.
Yeah. I could see the challenge too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's still very challenging. I mean, I don't know much of my family down there anymore.
Yeah.
So it would have to be through some other connection that I have down there that will ensure safety for me and whoever
Yeah.
I'm traveling with. But I would definitely go to Jamaica if I was like going up to the farms and staying away from the cities and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, even the cities, like I have family up there.
Right.
Some of them are queer, and they're living their lives. Yeah. I wouldn't avoid Jamaica because I love it. It's home.
Yes.
You know, Jamaica's in my blood, and anytime I talk about it, I support people going to Jamaica because tourism is what moves cities.
Absolutely.
So go.
Absolutely.
Enjoy the culture. Don't abuse the culture. And
No.
embrace it and love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't appropriate it.
There you go.
So if you were to live, I'll give you some, so it's because this is home now too. This is your home. Would you see yourself living in other place part-time and then?
Yeah, I definitely see myself doing like a 6-month type split.
Yeah.
So maybe here or somewhere in Europe.
Mm-hmm. Spain.
Yeah, Spain's calling.
I think like just listening to your story.
Yeah.
There's a big connection for you for Spain.
Yeah.
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 I've always wanted to go to Spain, and I've been many times now. So
yeah,
I do love it there.
Yeah.
Say it would probably be Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I told Tim he can't come.
Sorry,
It's mine.
so 6 months here with Tim.
But he can visit off.
You can visit
months,
though. You can visit.
Like,
That's nice. That's
again,
an offering.
beat off. Doing my own thing as far as life. I want to experience something for me.
Mm-hmm.
I
want that for you.
Just as I started the company, I wanted to start something for me.
Yes.
And that's kind of what you get when you experience an elbow party or you see me on Instagram. You're getting very much me.
You. It's you. It's fully you, auntie, everything.
Fully auntie.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and we get to visit.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Come
I
visit.
can see it. I can see it.
Have a bottle of sherry ready.
Yes.
We just sit on my terrace, being real fancy
Tapas,
girls.
tapas style. Yes. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where would I be? I'm somewhere tropical for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever I love Toronto, but one of the biggest thing for me was the cold.
Yeah.
And coming back after Trinidad on the day that it snowed in Vancouver, it was a stark reminder that, because I was considering, do we move east, and because our families are all there.
Okay.
And the comfort's still there, right? But yeah, I think the temperature of where I reside is super important. So tropics, I am definitely, I can't name spaces right now, but like staying either west if it's North American.
Okay.
I'm really looking forward to exploring that. And I do feel like Hula might inform that too, in terms of where we land.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so sometimes I do feel that pressure of like, oh goodness, it doesn't end in Canada. Potentially we're looking at where else we could be and where we think, it's the brand would be valuable and the products that we offer would be valuable. So yeah, I've been thinking a lot about that. I'm loving Trinidad. I love Trinidad. I got to go back again. I think longer and just see where that is. I definitely want to revisit East Africa, specifically Kenya.
Okay.
In a different, it's going to be a different look for me as a grown person. It's been a long time. So.
When's the last time you went back?
Oh my gosh, too long.
Okay.
Too long. So it's time. I think just being able to revisit my childhood in my 30s or 40s.
I love
would
that.
be. So I mean, if I was to put it out there to the universe, is to spend some time there as well. Like try places, 3 different places would be
At
ideal.
least.
I mean, we'll see.
Why not?
Expensive.
Listen, that part.
Expensive.
You have to open a shop in each.
Right,
part
in
of
all the
wherever you
places
live
we need to look at setting our base there. But yeah, I think getting back to Chop It Up though is I'm really excited. It's kind of like being able to hear about people's dreams, like our community's dreams as well, and their perspective.
Yeah.
It's just to kind of ground back to where we're at right now. Is what I'm looking forward to.
I think to piggyback off that, that's kind of what I'm looking forward to with the guests that we bring on. Even this conversation that we're having, it's opening up a lot that I haven't talked about in a long time.
Yeah.
And it's almost a reassurance of, okay, you're on the right path of everything you're doing, be it elbow, chop it up, Afro-queer, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
It's like the intention is there. So just kind of keep pushing forward. And I think the guests that I hope the guests that we bring on can feel that same feeling of, oh yeah, I haven't actually got to talk about my deepest of my drive, if you will, of why I do what I do. Yeah. It's always a nice reminder and a nice reset to speak to it and honor it.
Yes.
And give your past its flowers that it deserves.
Yes. And and also think future.
Yeah.
What that looks like for you. I think just being able to hear your story today and being able to tell you a little more than I don't think I went into all the it's usually childhood right to Kula. So it's been nice to just be able to put that out there and have a more deeper conversation with you. I guess that's in terms of firstly, we'd like to encourage you, if you're listening today, to share a bit of your story, or if there is any intention that you have for this podcast that you'd like to see. We will be engaging further and listening, and so I encourage you to follow first off. Please if you like this episode, and share. You can DM us directly, and we'd love to hear more so that it's not just one-sided.
Yes, absolutely.
And if you'd like to join us, please also let us know.
Oh yeah, I'd love
we're
to
welcoming
just get
new friends.
our followers on here, sit on the couch and talk about things.
Yes, yeah, and welcoming new friends to the space. So with that, we'll wrap it up today. Right now,
eat these patties. I'm hungry.
No, we're gonna eat these patties right now. We're gonna eat these patties. I would love to ask you what's bringing you joy right now.
What's bringing me joy?
Yeah, as we're closing up.
In this moment, being here with you.
Oh, I love you. You bring me joy. And Jay's behind the camera here, bringing me all the joys. We love y'all. I love that there was an alignment with the time that we went away. We came back refreshed, and now we really focused on this. And so I'm just really, this is bringing me joy just to be able to sit down. I've been thinking about this for a week now, and so I'm looking forward to we're going to really spend a lot of time together. We're not going to have things that we're busy with. So I'm looking forward to that.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, folks, we will see you on the next episode.
Yes.
Stay tuned. Much love. And get to food.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to our podcast episode. You can find us on all podcast streaming platforms, and you can watch us on our YouTube channel, Chop It Up. Until next time.